We're back again at Goodwood Speedweek. This time we are here with Ric Wood Motorsport and his fabulous collection of cars. Unusually we're going to get him to talk us through all of them, because usually it's one car per person, but you have such a lovely collection here. I thought we'd get you to take us through them. So if we start maybe with the Nissan. And
my Nissan baby, yes.
Nissan baby.
I fancied doing something real special. I wanted something that had beaten RS 500.
Yes.
And you know, historically, that has always been the car to do the job. So I'm looking around, and there's nothing in the Northern Hemisphere.
Yeah.
It's all Japan, Australia. But the Australian ones, the problem is it's the CAMS rules. So if you bought an Australian car and brought it here,
yeah,
you couldn't race it.
Oh really?
It's not got FIA papers, it's the wrong FIA.
Ah, okay.
It's not European FIA. So that's why I decided to recreate that. I mean, I've got a team of 25 people, and it took us 6-7 months to do it.
Yeah, you've done it in extraordinary detail, I understand.
Like stupid detail, but it deserved it. So it's a very expensive project. So that car probably cost me £400,000 to build.
That'll do it.
But then the next one, we've got it all in CAD.
Yeah.
So you probably looked around it. It's amazingly accurate to the original.
Yeah. So you went through the manuals. You got the manuals translated and all that. As I understand
basically. Thank God for Google Translate. You know, we bought some really good magazines from Japan that detail it, and they were really kind enough to, you know, lie under a ramp and have photos like that. And we scaled everything off components we knew.
Ah, okay. So
no one would let me.
You go, oh, that's a nut that's the X amount of size.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's got to be that size.
Yeah. So we knew sizes of stuff. So, sorry. Yeah. So. Just gonna back in there.
Yeah. It's a story of our interviews at the moment. It's halfway through an interview, a noisy car turns up.
Yeah.
It's fine though. It's part of the character of the event, I think.
No, it's part of it, isn't it? So literally everything here, whether it be the airboxes, pipes, all these, everything is like the original. Inside the detail, we even have the gauges remade. The suspension, obviously, we've made. It is the only components this shares with a normal Skyline GTR is the body shell.
Fantastic.
And the cross members.
It's like a complete recreation.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is the original car, the only components they used was the body shell and the cross members. Everything else is totally different.
It's completely custom.
Absolutely.
That's the thing. The GTR built its reputation on this car, and actually what it actually is a different car.
Absolutely.
Broadly.
So unfortunately, but that's why someone hadn't done it, because it was so awkward to do, and was so much commitment to do it. That's why I think no one had done it.
Ah, but you're a man enough for the job and took it on.
I like a challenge. Yeah. It's just as well. So yeah, no.
And it performs well as well. It's
absolutely, yeah.
It properly shifts and it goes nicely.
Yeah. We run it generally about 1.2 bar, 1.3 bar, and it's making 650 horsepower at that. 1.5 it makes 800, and at 2 bar it makes 1020.
Unbelievable.
So we've not wound it up in competition yet, because
do you need to?
Well, the problem is all the RS 500s can't keep up with it now.
Yeah.
So if I wind it up, I'll just get banned.
Yeah.
A bit like they did in the original. So one thing I don't want to do is, you know, cut my nose off to spite my face.
And also, racing's more exciting if you've got an actual race on, I feel. Surely for the driver.
Absolutely.
I mean, you're the driver here.
These are actually, when you're racing one of the, you know, the original RS 500s with 580 horsepower, they're actually a bit faster in a straight line. But they're nowhere near as nimble. You know, so they're not as good under braking, not as good around the corner.
So, I mean, the R32 was legendary for the amount of computer-controlled sort of assistance it would give you? Is all of that gone in this? In this?
No, remember that had the computing power of a quarter of a phone. You're talking about a computer 30 years ago. It's a calculator now. So, but what it did do, it's the first one to sort of electronically change the amount of power going from the back to the front wheels. And we've done the same, you know, so...
But that was great. That was like the innovation, really. Like it gives you a four-wheel drive that's a bit smarter, and it's...
I think what they did, obviously, originally, they looked at the competition, like the Japanese do. They'll think, oh, that's a good idea. They'll do that, and then... put it all together.
That's the thing. They are innovative, sort of on their own, but when they've looked out a little bit more, like they bring it all together.
They just jumped a massive generation. Quite often, you know, every generation of car jumps forward, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But this really did make a jump, and it was a game changer.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Actually, talking of which, almost a nice segue. We were saying earlier that the part of the reason this is so iconic is because of like Gran Turismo and stuff. And apparently your driver for today was...
Who is Jake?
Who is Jake? Is Jake?
Yeah.
Hi guys.
British touring car winner? Podium?
Yes, we have podiums this year, but winner last year,
And, You're driving this,
yes,
and you are clearly a lot younger than us, and must have come from like the PlayStation generation really for this car. Is that where you were sort of drawn to these from?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of kids sort of my age really, you know, mid-20s now, you know, watch the Fast and Furious films and the PlayStation era and fell in love with Skylines really, and that's where my love began for them. And then when I saw them in the flesh for the first time, the love grew. So I actually own a 32 road car, GTR, which I love, and Ric's built the engine for that. So that should be a monster, shouldn't it? Really?
Oh yeah,
that'll shift a little bit.
It will. But then likewise, you know, Ric very kindly asking me to drive and help develop it early on. Mega, you know, it's just been so much fun. I've loved every second of it, and the car's an absolute monster. You know, a bit temperamental sometimes, but she's an old girl, really. So
race cars are generally temperamental.
They are, yeah.
They're always on that edge of.
Yeah, of course, you know, exactly that. But you know, it's coming a long way every time we use it. It's definitely going to be probably one of the best Group A cars in the UK, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's fabulous. It's fabulously well built, and driving it must be literal dream come true.
100%. So you know, I feel sorry for Ric because I was pestering him so much to let the other go, and that was it. Really.
This weekend I got the short straw because I wanted to drive that.
No.
I got the short straw, but
well, your short straw we'll get onto in a minute. And it's not that short a straw.
No, well I know, but yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no worries.
Good luck with the rest of the shootouts and stuff. And obviously your actual day job. Good luck with that.
Yes, fingers crossed. Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Actually, again, look at this. It's almost like I planned it. Beautiful segues.
Yeah.
The car you're driving today is, I mean, we're retro rides, but I still was all over this when I saw it because it's very unusual to see in the UK, which is your Holden over here, and it's an extraordinary bit of kit to see here.
Yeah, I mean, I've been in love with Holdens for the last 25 years. I got my first one probably 20 odd years ago. I bought it just after Bathurst.
Oh yeah.
And then this one came up. I went to see it in Australia. I got it off Brad Jones.
Well, as I understand it, the story that's encompassed in the sentence of I went to see it in Australia is you flew to Australia, saw the car, got on a plane and came home. Like that's an 8-hour period.
You wouldn't believe, well, if you're a true petrol head, which I am, I literally, I flew to Australia. Not very good for my carbon footprint, but you can't buy something without looking at it. I flew to Australia, got there at 9 o'clock in the morning, drove 3 hours, saw the car, 3 hours back. I drove the car on a circuit, on the plane that night. So
unbelievable. See, I thought I was hardcore. I went to
sure
Japan.
you would do that as well.
Well, I went to Japan for a car show for the weekend, and I thought I was hardcore. Went out on the Friday, came back on the Monday. That is not Australia in a day levels of hardcore. That's insane.
You're not even starting.
I'm not even close.
The dedication.
I just go and check my car enthusiast card in at the door. That's an unbelievable thing to have done. Well done. So tell us about the car. I mean, it's kind of modern, but it makes a great noise.
Obviously, that's a recreation. This is a genuine car. It's from 2013, so it's one of the last of the proper gearbox cars. So Hollinger gearbox in the front, so it's the last of that generation. The new generation, they've got a gearbox in the back, space frame, not really for me. And I think in years to come, there's a lot more you can run that in because it's got a proper chassis.
Yeah.
So it's literally 640 horsepower in a very heavy car, but 640 of great fun.
Yeah, it makes a lovely noise.
I knew here this would be really quick, four-wheel drive.
Yeah.
You haven't got any time to warm tyres up. The further you get into the race, the faster it goes. You know, it's built for doing 1,000 kilometres.
Yeah, the thing is, like Bathurst, it's a long race.
Absolutely. So it's just here. It's just like a warm-up lap almost.
So not built for hill climbing and sprinting, but fun all the stuff.
Absolutely. So yeah, that's basically I brought that in.
Let's get on to our Capri. So Rick is also here with two very nicely presented Capris as well. Is one yours and one a customer's? Or
that's right.
That's right.
This is mine. I've been to Goodwood with this car and raced it many times around the country. We've been very lucky to be invited each year. We had a gearbox fault yesterday, which is the first time I've ever had a gearbox fault, but there we are, that's racing for you.
How it goes sometimes, isn't it?
So we're fixing that for tomorrow. So yeah, that car is built from scratch.
What engine are you running?
3 litre, 300 horsepower, single carburettor, and then this one is a customer's car, which we're running. That did the race no problem yesterday with Guy Smith.
Is that another 3 litre?
That's exactly the same spec as that, really. No difference.
So I'm not going to embarrass myself with my Ford engine knowledge. I know a little bit. So is it like it's not like a Cologne V6 or anything that sort of stuff, is it?
The Cologne is a German-based engine. Yeah. This is an Essex.
Oh, it's an Essex.
So it's an Essex V6. So basically,
I got the V6 right at least. I'm happy with that.
Yeah, you're close. Yeah, you're not embarrassing yourself totally. So this is single carburettor, 300 horsepower, 8,000 revs.
Look at that.
And yeah, so it's really old school. It's on 175 tyres, but you know, it's like a trick car.
I'm going to name drop here. I was chatting to Johnny Smith earlier, and he was just saying how surprised he was how much the Capris shipped. And I guess it's because you've been developing these engines for a long time.
Suspension, engines, and they are amazingly, you know, they're amazingly quick. You'd be surprised.
It's really good. I'm really impressed. And is this Ric Wood Motorsport's bread and butter, or is it just like whatever gets thrown at you, you'll have a go at?
No, generally I'm really well known for the Capris, the Cologne Capris, Westlakes. I make those engines as well.
You have a Zack Speed, don't you?
Yeah, I do have a Zack Speed. I built a Zack Speed.
I feel the need we need to come and visit you at some point. And you've got. Sorry, I've got the only other thing I remember you have is you have Mega Bertha. You rebuilt that.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, I remember when that project was for sale. And it went to somebody that would finish it, and then you turned up with it. I was like, oh yeah, that's definitely.
Yeah, and we did that in 6 months.
Yeah, it's a really impressive turnaround.
So, just have to get this because it's a guy with a gearbox.
No worries.
Just one sec. Hello. Okay, guys, sorry about that.
Mega
Yeah.
Bertha. You built that.
Mega Bertha, yeah.
You built that in 6 months. You turned that
6
around.
months, yeah.
That's incredible. It was great to see someone see that vision and go for it.
It deserved. I've always been a Jerry Marshall fan.
Yeah, me too.
I've got a Calibra with a big V8. I had a bit of a race with him when he drove Baby Bertha.
Yeah.
He did former saloons a few times. So I was, I've got some photos with him and me next to each other.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so yeah, always been a bit of a fan.
Yeah, big fan of Jerry Marshall. Anybody watching this that hasn't heard of Jerry Marshall, and you should have done if you're watching our videos, but if you haven't, just go and look. One of the greatest racing drivers and a real character. There's a great biography called Only Here for the Beer, and yeah, definitely have a read about him. He's a fabulous chap.
You couldn't make the stories up.
No,
they've got to be true.
He's a wild guy. So, well, thank you very much for talking us around here. As I say, we'll need to find some time to come up and visit you guys, I think, because everything you do is fabulous. Which would be your pick? Which would be your favourite? I think I know possibly where you're going with this, but.
No, I mean, you can't have a favourite son or daughter, can you?
That's a diplomatic answer, I like that.
No, it's not. I mean, like, I have to say, for Group 1 racing, sheer power and rear wheel drive and the noise that the Skyline, the Skyline's easiest. The Holden, you have to get very brave very fast, and the Capri is very similar because you're driving it off the rear wheels.
Yes, that's
a bit like that.
Yeah.
But the easiest to drive for me is the Skyline.
And you're campaigning that at the moment, aren't you?
I am campaigning, and it's winning. So
yeah, it's doing well.
Yeah.
Doing well. Thank you very much for the interview.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much for bringing your cars out. Always appreciate it.
It's always a pleasure.
And yeah, we'll try and make that visit happen. So. Thanks everybody, and we'll see you in the next video. We spotted this at Goodwood Speedweek and we love it already.